Marion Fox is a semi-forgotten British writer. Born in 1885 in Aldershot, Hampshire, the daughter of Army officer Malcolm Fox and his second wife Marion Jane Mills. In 1914, she married Stephen Berman Ward, the pair having 2 children. She died in Richmond upon Thames in 1973. Fox had begun to publish in 1910, publishing a handful of historical novels and a collection of poetry, her first book being The Seven Knights, a novel of the peasants' revolt of 1381. However, this changed in 1914 when she published Ape's Face, her first supernatural novel, which was followed by 3 more ghost novels, published sporadically from 1919 to 1928. She would write nothing more, an abortive biography on the poet and novelist Jean Ingelow never being published. Ape's Face is the most well-known of Fox's books, though that isn't saying much, as it would take 92 years for it to be republished in any form after its initial publication. In the prologue, Armstrong, a wayfarer on his way to Shaftesbury, meets a man and asks him directions, but receives dark hints concerning the country about. Something is not quite right about the Downs, he figures. Just then, a small child runs past him, screaming in terror. 28 years later, Armstrong meets a young woman at the train station. She is Josephine Delane Morton, come to fetch him since he is to go and stay with her father, who has in his possession certain Elizabethan letters which Armstrong wants to take a peek at in his capacity as historical biographer. At the family estate, he is introduced to Delane Morton, his sister Ellen, and his elder son Godfrey. There is a younger son named Arthur, but he seems to detest Armstrong for some reason. Meanwhile, Josephine, whom her brother affectionately calls Ape's Face, had returned from her walk. It is revealed she had been in Italy for some time now due to her health, and she says she would have rather stayed there than being forced to return home for the holidays. While the hosts ponder over Armstrong's genealogy, he goes on to discover a secret passage containing documents written by John Morton, the original builder of the house. As Armstrong goes over John Morton's writings, he is surprised by Ape's Face, or Josephine, who suddenly springs upon him and begins to examine the hidden qualities of John Morton and relates the poor fortunes of the Mortons of his time, as well as the story of his sister Isabella, her love of a shepherd, and the tragic end coming to both of them as a result of the pride and haughtiness of one of her brothers. The story contains more than a hint of a real supernatural presence at the estate. Armstrong and Josephine, despite not getting along at all, are soon drawn into the discovery of an ancient secret far more sinister, tied to the Morton line, and to the country Downs as a whole, whose character takes on a wild, unnatural, malevolent aspect, which becomes a horrible, unendurable presence every year around Christmas Day with tragic, bloody results. A fascinating book. It reminded me at times of Sarban, and I should do you a disservice if I should say any more about it, except that you should have read it yesterday.